Shawn B, baby?
Shawn B, how you doing today?
I'm doing, sir. I am pretty pumped because this Tuesday marked the 8th week of Big Three, right?
Yeah, 7. This is week 7, the second to last week in the regular season.
Yeah.
Things are starting to amp up. We had a lot of good games this week, a lot of playoff implications. Some hopes were dashed early. We got some teams staying alive. Our power rankings got shook up.
That's why I like it, though.
Shouts out to Elvis for getting into my mind right then. But seriously, I made power rankings from week 7 because, as you know, I'm a fiend. I love the Big Three as much as you love Ice Cube and Allen Iverson. So just the idea of 3-on-3 basketball, because I couldn't really cut it. You know, high school varsity, college wasn't my thing. But that Gus Macker dude out there, anybody can be a star for a half an hour on a Saturday.
Oh, yeah, dude.
3-on-3 was that life. You know, I love seeing that. Love the fact that it's going to be in the Olympics. I know it's got different rules there, which is going to be pretty cool. It's all 1s and 2s. So I definitely want to have a different episode about that. But we are, of course, this is a part of the Half Court Trap series. We're just going to be talking about half-court hoops out here. But anyway, the power rankings, dude. I'm going to go over them real quick so you can see, before we get into everything that happened, see how things played out. So there's number 1, everybody knows. This is Trilogy.
Trilogy, yeah. I was going to my guess, yeah.
Kmart, Rashad McCants. Did you hear what Rashad McCants said? There's been a couple of great things he said so far. Did you hear, I guess I'll be vague, did you hear what he said about his Kardashian relationship?
I didn't see the actual statement, but I saw a headline that he was into it with the Kardashians.
Well, so he dated Khloe during one of the peak times of the show, and he said that he would have been a $60 to $70 million player in the NBA if not for dating her. So, you know. And then he went on to say, by the way, he was the first overall pick in Big Three history. He was the number 1 draft pick by Trilogy, which is interesting. This is one of the few times in a sports league the number 1 team with the number 1 overall pick goes on to run away with things like that. Granted, much different circumstance, but he also claimed that the All-Star, he and Steven Jackson were talking about how they could beat NBA players. Steven Jackson said an All-Star Big Three team could beat an NBA team. So that's probably just doing some hype. You know, they're getting their Floyd Mayweather on out here. But Rashad McCants, sorry for that segue. He's just, I'm very excited here. Very excited to talk about this Big Three. The Week 7 power rankings going to number 2. I had the Three-Headed Monsters. Your boys.
Yeah.
Your favorite. Sweet Lou is leading the league in scoring as of right now, going into Week 7. And following Week 7, spoiler alert, still the league's leading scorer. At number 3, I had the Ghost Ballers.
Oh. I was thinking,
Mike Bibby. Yeah, so speaking of NBA players, I would tell you right now, Mike Bibby is better than Darren Williams. I would take him.
Oh, yeah.
The Cavs signed Mike Bibby right now. They got their backup point guard to Derrick Rose because Kyrie is gone. Anyway, that's another show.
Mike Bibby, though, on some real, it's just a natural born baller. Like, that dude's, 40-something now?
He's, I wish we had Nate here. He's in his 40s. Another quick note, he is leading the league in both 4-point field goals made and assists. So another MVP candidate, I would imagine. And we're going to come up with our own. I'm going to read somebody else's, of course, at some point. But would he be in yours right now? Just based off that, like there's out of the 4 major categories, he's leading 2 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he'd probably fit into the top 3 at least if you're making an argument. I don't know how many finalists they're going to have, but I think right now he's in the running with one more week to go. Number 4, I had Power, which is Cat Mobley's squad.
Yeah.
They're like the old dudes at the gym that only run together, and like none of them can dunk anymore. but they're just dead eyes from mid-range. Have you seen how many times Coutinho Mobley has hit that fall away from the foul line?
Yeah.
He's
sick, bro.
He doesn't have to use his right hand at all. He's just left hand, jab step, float off one leg. You can't block it.
Isn't he the captain for Power?
Corey Maggette was the captain. So he was the co-captain. He is now the captain. It was funny when he went down. I think they added Moochie Norris for a minute. So they were playing only with their teammates, which was pretty cool. They also have Deshaun Stevenson, who has hit a lot of game-winning shots so far. He and Al Harrington are probably in the running for the lead there. Shout back to Trilogy. But at number 5, I had Killer Threes, which is unfortunate because their captain, Chauncey Billups, is there almost every other week. I mean, he's a busy dude. He's got other things to do. But typically when he's there, they win. When he's not, they don't. And they have Stack Jackson, my boy Steve.
Yeah.
You know, he's still out there playing pretty well. Maurice Evans. They have some players that they don't really have.
I think he hurt
a big
his
guy.
knee, man.
Who did?
Stack Jackson.
Uh-oh.
It looked like when at that last game when they played, who was they playing? I want to say Power. Three's Company.
Yeah.
It looked like he had fell and he was holding his knee.
Oh, I actually missed the injury. Speaking of Three's Company, they are at number 6. They were at number 6 going into this week. And we had Tri-State at 7, Jermaine O'Neal's squad with Bonzi Wells and Nayland. And at 8, we had the White Mambas Ball Hogs, with Josh Childress being the main player out there, although Mamba is everyone's favorite. So, week 1, the leadoff game was your boys and my boy. I'm going to try to say this. I apologize. Mahmoud Abdul Rauf and the Three-Headed Monsters taking on the Ball Hogs at 1-6. And Shawn B, what were your thoughts going into this game? You had any fear about your squad taking this one down?
No, I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Dude, you got Akeem Abdul-Medidi in there, and you got Rashard Lewis, bro. That's a recipe for success, bro.
Just imagine if Jason Williams wasn't hurt.
I know.
They would probably also be an undefeated team out here. Well, they would have Trilogy would have one loss, I think.
I just don't understand how, dude, first week, man, that's a red flag for me.
Well, a lot of these guys, you notice the difference between, let's say, week 1 and week 4. There's one thing to try to simulate it, but they hadn't actually gone game speed, for real at all until week 1. You haven't really seen, because those were both non-contact injuries, and you really haven't seen any serious injuries since then. For the most part, everyone's been cool. So I think that's kind of what it was. These guys are old. It was a real red flag, a real scare in week 1. Two of the stars, 2 of the captains, or at least co-captains of the league, out in the first week on non-contact injuries. People are like, oh boy, here we go. Mm-hmm. They got a bunch of crippled dudes and Kwame Brown. Yeah, sign me up. But Kwame has actually played pretty well too for you boys.
Yeah,
and
he's doing pretty nice.
You know who else stepped up today was my former boy running with them Pacers, Kareem Rush. He had a few big shots tonight, if you can call him big.
Kareem.
What was your highlight from that game?
Probably when that chick in the crowd showed her boobies.
Oh yeah, that was good. So it wasn't when Brian Scalabrine shot the underhand free throw.
No, that kind of pissed me off.
That made you mad?
Yeah, it's really, he missed it.
Right,
missed both of them.
So
it's like, dude, what the fuck?
Well, why are you mad about it?
Just because I was kind of are you for real? Dude, you're out here supposed to be putting on a show. You're just out here clowning, dude. Even his coach was pissed. I can't remember who's coaching that school.
No, his coach wasn't pissed because that's the story behind it. Rick Barry is his coach. Rick Barry, who's the all-time free throw percentage leader, and he shot only granny style. Oh, shit. And the story is last night he taught White Mamba how to shoot the underhand free throw, and he promised his coach, since he taught him, that he was going to shoot it tonight in the game. And because they interviewed him, they're going the XFL route and just having Michael Rappaport down there just interviewing players on the side. I love it. It's brilliant. In game, they're interviewing guys in the middle, right on the bench. So, and he was telling the story, and so it was his homage to Rick Barry. And I get where if it were a serious game, I could see where you were going with it, but they're already eliminated from the playoffs. And I kind of consider them to be the Washington Generals. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like they knew Sweet Lou and them were the Globetrotters tonight. You saw Gary Payton was taking a nap in the second half. I saw it.
So over there doozing, dude.
So you ready for the good news?
So with it, dude.
Your boys clinched the playoffs.
Yeah. I'm pretty bumped about that, dude. I like to see him kick that booty all the way to the top.
And you know who hit the game winner?
Was it Rashard?
Mm-hmm.
Rashard.
Moving on to game 2. Game 2. Working on this low budget here, guys. Game 2 was the Killer Threes, who actually had Chauncey in attendance tonight, versus Threes Company, who did not have Allen Iverson. But we all know that now. He got that suspension. Ice Cube is not messing around, dude. He's going Goodell with it. It's like, no, we're launching a full investigation, and you're going to go sit. But, of course, he's going to be there in Vegas and Los Angeles. Kind of felt bad for the people of Kentucky. Did you notice that the stands were a little light? Because this was the game when I noticed it.
Yeah.
So the important part to this one was the loser was out of the playoff race. So of course, Chauncey was there for this one. What were your thoughts going in? Who'd you think was going to win this bad boy? Because I was Killer Threes all day.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I knew, especially knowing Iverson wasn't playing. I was like, yeah, they're not doing shit. Their team's kind of scrubbed for real. I hate to say it because AI is my boy, but he put together a really poopy ass team.
What about AO though? AO.
Like I said, it's a really poopy ass team, man.
AO. I'm telling you, dude. Andre Owens is the truth. He's gonna be He's gonna be the Paul Pierce. So I couldn't even finish that, but he's been lighting it up. He's been carrying the load with Iverson hung over and absent half the year. He might not be for real hungover, but he kind of looks like, you know what I'm saying? He kind of looks a little stoned out there, or maybe a little hungover.
I read somewhere recently that he's going through a divorce, possibly.
Yeah, he's not there, one way or the other. You know, his eyes seem a little glazed over. I hope he gets it together, but I see why. I'd rather just see him as a coach. Yeah. Let the other guys play. You know, his assistant coach could do. He can just stand there and be the face of it. That's all that they want. He's a draw. People just want to be around him, and it'd probably help him to just be around people and not have to really work. You know, just be able to hang out. So this game kind of came as a surprise to me. I thought the Killer Threes were going to run away with it, and it was a 26-21 game at the half. Threes Company was in the lead. Killer Threes made a little bit of a run there. But Chauncey, Mr. Big Shot, missed the game-winning three, and there was a foul on the rebound. And so Al Thornton hits the game-winning free throw. And this brings up a point I wanted to talk to you about. To me, this is if I had to vote for what is the biggest weak spot of this league, it would be that a game can be won at the free throw line. And I guess when you think about it, plenty of NBA and college games are won at the free throw line, with a 3 or 2 point lead. It just, a league that needs excitement, that only has 8 teams, a budding league, it feels like it can be a real letdown. Like, could you imagine scraping up money? They're only play for 10 weeks. They're only in 10 cities, so if you are a big fan of this and you spend a lot of money to go see there and all 4 of your games end with free throws, it's just not the most exciting. Like, you're probably not going to save up money to go do that again.
Right.
What are your thoughts on the free throw? Can it be changed? Do you have any ideas for how you would change it, or are you cool with it ending that way?
I mean, it probably could be changed, but I don't really think it's the end of the world. Dude, you know what you're getting when you go to these games. Like, you're watching a bunch of old dudes play ball. It's like, I mean, what do you really expect? Like, what are you really looking for it to end with? It's not going to end with a backboard shattering dunk from fucking Uka Mugabibi on my squad, bro. BB, yeah, dude, BB's a beast. But he ain't about to be shattering no backboards out here, bro.
Oh, man.
I mean, I don't really think it's that big of a deal, personally. Like you said, I mean, it ends like that all the time, really.
Yeah.
Free throws can decide games all over. So, I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But
it's a valid point. It kind of feels a little deflating sometimes watching them. Now, they're spoiler alert, there was a game later, as you know, that was decided at the free throw line a different way. So it is kind of exciting if a guy misses a game-winning free throw, I guess. I find myself rooting for every player to miss their game-winning free throw. I'm like, not like this, dude. It's like it takes me back to the days of 21. Shawn B, it's you, me, and Sweet Lou, our Sweet Lou, are going at it 21 style. You really want to lose to me 21-19 because you were up 19-17, I hit a jumper, and then I hit 2 free throws?
Yeah. I would be kind of sorry.
Right?
I would.
I'm not saying it's the end of the world. I'm just saying if I had to find a chink in the armor, that's where it is right there.
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying to expand and sell tickets and grow interest.
I'm going to be honest, I don't really love the 4-point shot. I'm not a huge fan.
Would you get rid of it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. What would you like about it?
It's just goofy. I don't know. It's just a 4-point shot, really. It just looks tacky on the floor, for one. Those little 4-point fucking bubbles.
Yeah.
And it's just like, come on, man. It just looks super tacky.
I do dry heave every time I hear Gus Johnson say Curry range. But that's just, leave the NBA out of it, man. That's the whole thing, Stop it, Gus. Stop it.
Somebody needs to catch him walking in his car and just beat the shit.
And everyone needs to quit. I do not. I kind of like Gus. I'd rather you just talk to him. Bring Lou with you. And, I'll just stand back there with Steve, Dave, and we'll each have pipes in our hands or something and just not talk. Pretend to be mute. It'll be scary. Where were we? I forget. Oh, the 4-point play. The biggest week. I'm just going to move along because I had something about that, and it is gone. Game 3, Ghost Ballers.
Ghost.
When it's something
Patrick
strange.
Swayze.
Versus Tri-State, which I don't love that name. Jermaine O'Neal never struck me as a creative individual. Outside of that running fist he threw in the Palace, that was pretty innovative. So 1-6 Tri-State versus Ghost Ballers, who are playing for their playoff lives. Bonzi Wells rocks with Tri-State, but the Ghost Ballers have Pretty Ricky Davis.
Yeah.
Ivan Johnson's been playing well. So I don't know about you. Who'd you have going into this?
I had the Patrick Swayzes.
The Patrick Swayzes, yeah, them Ghost Ballers. Yeah, them Ditto boys.
Yeah. Just because they were kind of the underdog going into this, so I was rooting for them. I wanted to see them pull it out.
With a good old Hank's son, Bibby.
Yeah, dude.
Them Bibby boys. This was a relatively close game. Kind of snoozer at the end. Ghost Ballers kind of fell apart. Tri-State pulled this one off by 8. Really nothing exciting. But the game of the week, we don't have a soundbite. You got it's like a
Game of the week.
Yeah.
I like that. You like that?
Game of the week was Trilogy, Kmart, and the Funky Bunch versus Power, which is
50 Cent Squad.
also known as the YMCA 1 p.m. Senior League. This one, if the Power won, they would, of course, clinch the playoffs, so that would be setting some history in one way, and then they'd prevent Trilogy from being the first ever regular season undefeated squad in the Big Three. So they had a lot on that dinner plate, And Shawn B, if you were putting money on this game, this would have been the game to put money on.
Yeah.
This would have been the game to come see. Who you laying it down for?
I have to go with the Trill, dude.
Trilly?
The Trilly, dude.
Young
Ferrelli.
trillionaires?
Yep.
Is it because of that Illuminati symbolism in their logo?
No, but that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
But I was thinking just because,
It's getting,
like Texas references to them all the time.
Mhm.
Just thinking Trio.
you get all
Out here on their paw wall and shit.
on that logi.
Yeah, dude.
So this one was snarky. This reminded me, I don't know, I can't believe I just used that word, man.
Snarky.
Yeah.
Word of the week.
I wish we need like a penalty box. And by that I mean, it's like there's a bunch of bad things you have to do to yourself if you say stupid stuff like snarky. I don't know what it would be. Like someone has to dump cold water on your head. I don't know. We'll work on. We'll get that ready for when we have some cameras in here. But wow. I'm really sorry, Sean.
It's all right, dude.
I will try to make it up to you.
Cool.
This one,
I forgive you.
R. Kelly wouldn't have found nothing wrong with this game because there was a lot of bump and grind to it in the early going. Little fisticuffs. We had some dude I don't really know whose last name is McPherson throw a ball at my boy Al. It's the fat Al.
Love that shit.
He didn't like the way he got posted up. So for those of you who don't know, there's no hand check violations in this. So it's like 90s, So he pulled sort of remember that Michael Jordan Byron Russell move where people called it such a great crossover, but the reality is he just like shoved a dude and nobody called it, and that was his legacy. Boy, we really rode that dick for a whole decade, didn't we, as an entire nation? Anyway, he pulled one of those, and dude got mad. Al Harrington made the bucket, and the dude who he just got funked on, McPherson, caught the ball into the hoop and just whipped it at him and hit him in the chest. And then they did that whole thing where it's like, you gonna hit me, you ain't gonna hit me, you're not gonna hit me. You know that thing us dudes do, and like no one really wants to fight, but they're not about to let anyone know. I'm guilty. We're all guilty of that at some point or time where you just can't help but you're asking for someone to hold you back. It's one of those like, man, come hold me back, man. I'm just trying. This dude's
Bro,
So
your boy Stacks got into a similar situation too. With what's his face? I know he's team captain. I think for that. Team.
I gotta look back. Well, no, was it the team? No, because it was. I wasn't there. I can't.
Tino Mobley, wasn't it?
Oh no, yeah, there was more in this game. Yeah, it was. Oh, Butler, Rasul Butler, and Kmart go at it again later. There was a lot of jaw, and that's one of the good things about this league. These games got intense. Stack, I can't remember who. Maybe it was Owens. They got real jolly in the Three's Company. Killer C Jolly, I think would be one. I'm just making up words as I go. There was a lot of talk because there was a lot on the line. Playoffs, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And this one was no different. It was a real slow game. Like it took forever. This game was 8-9, 10-9. This one got off to a real slow start. It felt like the rubber match. You're out there at an open gym and it's best of 3, and it's first to 11 straight up. So for the first half an hour it's 4-3 because everybody's just fouling. Like
Right.
no, nothing easy. This was that game. Kmart. Oh yeah. No, it was Deshaun Stevenson. I remember what you're talking about now. So Deshaun Stevenson goes up for a shot, and Kmart blocks him.
Yeah.
And gets all up in his business. Yeah. And then they go at it. So Kmart gets into it with two different players. Al Harrington gets into it with somebody. Rasul Butler then hits a deep 3 and makes a pose to the crowd. So in the next possession, Rashad McCants steps up, hits a 3, and then plants his feet and does not move until the other team comes in inbounds, which is a really bad tactical move. But, he was just – it had to get the crowd excited. It felt like a Monday Night Raw back in the 90s. I was just like, yeah, woo! Just getting real excited about it. So the power, I've got your power, was up to a 23-14 lead. So they went to half of the big lead. And then Trilogy had that comeback, dude. For a second, they looked like they were about to run away with that bad boy. Power couldn't hit a shot, man.
They went in the locker room, and Ice Cube brought them out some of that ice, and they just smoked it up, came out just balling, dude.
They probably went in there and said the Lord's Prayer backwards and, like, you know.
Yeah, let some demons enter their bodies.
You know what I'm saying? Did
some
Egyptian stuff, maybe some blood sugar sex magic. I don't know.
Sprinkled a little voodoo dust in the Gatorade.
Ooh, that's I didn't even think about that. That's probably what it was.
Right.
But another thing, part of that comeback was it felt potentially like Trilogy might have been getting away with some calls. Did you see some of those strips?
Yeah.
Like, it looked like they might have been getting away with some reaches there. I know Deshaun was getting real mad.
What?
And Deshaun was getting real mad about it. He about got in a fight. And anyway, they stormed back. Trilogy got that 41-30 lead, and he thought this game's over. Right? They got to a point where it was 48-33 off of another strip that, you know, the power wanted the foul call. They don't get it, so it's 48-33. It's a 2-point game with 17 points to go. And I'm like, all right, this is done. I don't even need to finish watching this. And next thing you know, Power comes back to make it 48-45. So they go on a 12-2 run, and this one ends up coming down to a free throw again. Al Harrington's gets fouled and misses the game-winning free throw, and then there's a freaking tip drill. Number one gun, Rookie of the Year, Rashad McGee. Everyone's eligible for Rookie of the Year this year. You realize that? It's going to be MVP and Rookie of the Year.
That's crazy.
I mean, I don't know if they'll do a Rookie of the Year, if that's even a thing. I'm going to petition for it. But, yeah, Trilogy stays undefeated. So, any thoughts on the standings? So we got playoffs now. We got Trilogy's locked in. Your boys, Three-Headed Monsters, locked in. We still in the mix. We got the Ghost Ballers, AI's Three's Company, Power, and that is actually it. Those are the teams that are left. So with that in mind, who do you think is going to be in the finals?
I think it's going to be Trilogy and the Three-Headed Monsters.
Knew it. Yeah. I knew it. I think it's going to be Trilogy and Power. I think that old man league, that church league is going to get it together, man. Church league, I'm telling you, man, they're going to get it together. You know, draw up some plays. I mean, everybody out there, they're just, you know, they're wily. They're going to go out and get it. I expect Bibby to get his team together and Pretty Ricky. I expect them to make the playoffs. So they might surprise somebody. They got that talent. So to wrap it up, guys, I had just a quick the new power rankings as I had them. Of course, dude, Black Mambas, White Mambas got to be at the bottom. They're 1-6 now. So they got to be sitting at that 8th spot. They're eliminated from the playoffs. Now at number 7, I have Killer Threes because they had Chauncey. They still lost. So they only have 2 wins right now. They're eliminated from the playoffs. So I got Killer Threes at 7. I got Tri-State at 6. They also only have 2 wins, but they won tonight, and they beat the Ghost Ballers team that I thought was better than them. So I feel they need to move up. Ghost Ballers dropped to 5. They're still, right now they're outside looking in my playoff ranking with Three's Companies moving into 4. Again, they won. They should be moving up. Power sits at 3 despite the loss because they lost to the best team in the league. And I didn't think Three's Company. They're not the 3rd best team in this league.
No.
It's Power. It's just because they played the only team that can't be beaten right now, and they lost by 5. So they actually move up a spot for me because I had the Ghost Ballers at 3 last week. Yeah. They dropped a little bit. Three-Headed Monsters stay at 2. They have 1 loss, and it's to Trilogy. So Trilogy naturally is number 1, and that's what I got on that. Shawn B, there is 1 more week in the regular season, dog. I'm looking forward to it, man. Thank you for chilling out with me in the half-court trap. I hope we keep doing more of these. You got any parting thoughts?
For sure. I actually enjoy this. And you know how much I was looking forward to this league starting up and Cube. And, you know, I ain't got to tell you. But, yeah, I'm really pumped. I definitely want to keep this going. Do some playoff coverage. Cover that championship game, dude.
We're going to try to be there, man. We're going to start a Patreon.
Right, and again, I mean, I don't think tickets are that much, man. If they next season, they come close enough, we should try to catch a game.
Yep, we'll be there in Kentucky next time. We'll bring the noise.
Yeah, dude, be sick. I don't know if they're going back to Kentucky after that poor showing this week.
Hey, you never know. They got to get. I'm hoping for an expansion. I'm hoping for a few more teams, which will maybe at some point they'll have to do 2 nights a week.
Yeah.
3 games, 2 nights a week. I had one last question for you. As things stand, who would you give the MVP to right now? Who's the big 3 MVP in your eyes? The guy going into the final week of the season.
I'm gonna have to say Rashard Lewis, dude.
Oh, yeah.
It's either that or Mike Bibby, man.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're probably right. I'm gonna go with Mike Bibby. That's just my heart thinking out. But he's leading in a couple of stats, so he could pull it off. I think a sleeper still is potentially Andre Owens. They win a couple of games. Maybe they'll pull maybe the playoffs because it's such a short season. Maybe there's probably no postseason award, so maybe it's just a one-season MVP. So maybe the playoff run will be included, and if so, Andre Owens might do it. That dude's out there putting in buckets. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us on Off the Bandwagon, a proud member of the Bad Dinner Guest family. You can find us at Bad Dinner Guests on all things social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Off the Bandwagon on Facebook. Same thing on Twitter, except our E is a 3 because someone stole our name.
Fuckers.
Bastards.
Damn you all.
99, Shawn B.
99, brother.